This week on Christian World News.
We're going to fight to whatever way we can fight to make sure that every single kid we know gets an opportunity.
A few years ago, they didn't know the language. Now they're computer experts. The unique program that turned refugees into college students.
Plus, in India, a Christian ministry is forced to close its doors, putting more than 100,000 children at risk. Why is this happening, and what can be done to help?
And pro-lifers under attack in France. The new measure that targets freedom of speech. Why speaking against abortion could soon be illegal.
여러분 안녕하십니까? 크리스천 월드뉴스입니다. 도널드 트럼프 대통령이 취임한 지도 2달이 지났는데요. 많은 미국인들은 트럼프 대통령을 선택한 이유로 종교 자유 수호를 위한 공약을 들었습니다. 이것이 미국 내에서 왜 중요한지 오늘 첫 소식으로 만나보시죠.
We have new information in the story of a Gresham bakery that became the center of a nationwide controversy over gay rights.
Religious freedom, a highly contentious issue, gaining traction with several high-profile cases playing out in the news. And one that's especially significant to Christians. How important is it that President Trump signed an executive order about religious freedom?
What we've seen in the last 8 years through the policies of the Obama administration is really this idea that religious expression is bad in public, and the policies have kind of quarantined faith within the walls of our churches.
Tony Perkins, president of the Family Research Council, has advised members of the Trump administration on the topic and now wants the president to act.
The executive order would simply state that, you don't have to leave your faith at home. You don't have to leave it within the four walls of the church. You can actually live your life accordingly.
In other words, freedom of religion would apply for those who work in all areas of life, including business and the government. A draft version of the order floated several weeks ago and drew strong criticism from LGBT groups and some liberals. It covers a wide range of issues like protections for people who support traditional marriage. Another example, religious and other groups would not have to provide health insurance that covers birth control or abortion. The order could also protect the tax-exempt status of faith groups that speak out on politics. How confident are you that this will happen, and do you have any kind of idea when it might happen?
I don't have any idea as to when. I think it probably will be sooner rather than later, but I do think this administration will address the issue. I do believe that the Trump administration, the president himself, understands the need, and I'm optimistic they're going to address it.
And what about people like Aaron and Melissa Klein, the Oregon couple fined for refusing to make a cake for a gay wedding?
It's not that they did not want to provide services to someone that was gay or lesbian. It's that they didn't want to be forced into providing their creative services for a wedding. They've sold to customers, just as florists like Bernal Stutzman, great lady who served everyone who came through the door, but did not want to use her gifts, her creative gifts, to be a part of something that from a Christian standpoint is sacred, marriage.
Perkins is pushing for that executive order, but also hopes Congress passes a bill that ensures more permanent protection for all people of faith. In Washington, Jenna Browder, CBN News.
인권 변호사이자 운동가인 아말 클루니는 조지 클루니의 아내로도 유명한데요. 아말 클루니가 유엔 연설을 통해 이라크 집단 학살 피해자들에 대한 보호를 촉구했습니다. 미국과 유럽연합은 이라크 기독교인들과 야지디인들에 대한 IS의 탄압을 집단 학살로 규정했지만 유엔은 여전히 침묵하고 있는 상황입니다.
Speaking at the UN on Thursday, she warned that the situation risks becoming another Rwanda unless member states take action against ISIS.
Mass graves in Iraq lie unprotected and unexhumed. Witnesses are fleeing, and not one ISIS militant has faced trial for international crimes anywhere in the world. So I am speaking to you, the Iraqi government, and to you, UN member states, when I ask, why? Why is it that nothing has been done?
미국에서는 난민 수용 문제가 계속해서 큰 논쟁을 불러일으켰는데요. 트럼프 대통령이 논란이 됐던 행정명령을 일부 수정해 발표했습니다.
One big difference, the new special order does not give special preference to Christians and other religious minorities. However, the government can grant waivers if being denied status as a refugee would cause some undue hardship, like, for instance, Christians and others facing genocide at the hands of ISIS.
난민들은 지난 수십 년간에 걸쳐 미국의 새 보금자리를 찾았는데요. 어느덧 세월이 흘러 그 다음 세대가 성장하고 있습니다. 가난과 고통을 극복하고 새 희망을 찾은 난민들의 이야기를 만나보시죠.
Starting school in a new city can be daunting, especially when it's halfway around the world from home.
When I came here, everybody was different, treated me different. I felt like an outcast.
At 7 years old, Luisa Irankunda and her family fled war in Africa and resettled in Des Moines, Iowa.
I didn't really know what America was, but all I heard was that it was wonderful and that money grew out of the trees.
Luisa couldn't speak English and struggled to fit in.
It was very tough, and they were bullying me because when I came here, I didn't really have hair because they said that we should shave it off.
Nancy Marazzi, an African native living in Des Moines, noticed how the refugees struggled, particularly the young girls.
I realized we really needed to start a unique program to just reach out to the girls and know that we are here for them.
Starting a dance class, she quickly noticed an improvement in attitude.
I started working with refugee students, and I realized that we actually have a great opportunity to impact low-income students.
Following that success, she looked for bigger ways to empower kids. And that's when God put coding on her heart.
So here I was with this ambitious dream of teaching kids how to program computers, and we had no place. And God's been good, because you know when He gives you a task, you know what He does? He gives you the things to complete them.
She found a church to host the class and a volunteer in computer science to teach the program she named Pi 515, Pursuit of Innovation.
We're trying to see how do we teach them the skills so that we don't have this number of kids in poverty growing. When you're poor, chances are if you don't get an opportunity, you're just going to recycle that back. And what happens to those kids?
Open to both girls and guys, each student comes from a war-torn African country. 10 years ago, some of these kids couldn't even speak English. But now, thanks to the Pi 515 program, these 15, 16, and 17-year-olds are learning to build robots and design their own websites. Hosting a year-round free technology program like this doesn't come easy. They rely on donations for everything, from computers to teachers to the unexpected. And through it all, Nancy's faith stands strong.
I believe that God, when He shows you a need, He wants you to do something about it. He says, you know, go take care of that for me, and as long as you take care of it for me, I'll be right there standing with you. We're going to fight to whatever way we can fight to make sure that every single kid we know gets an opportunity.
The fight is paying off with many students who never thought they'd go past high school, getting college scholarships.
In a couple of years, I envisioned myself getting the degree in the computer science, and I'm just fascinated. I want to learn how computers work, and also through that, I would like to pretty much come up with things which can help other people.
Iowa State offered Bonito a full ride, becoming the first in his family to attend a 4-year college.
I never imagined that, but here I am today.
And he's hardly the only success story.
I have learned how to code, I've learned how to use CSS and HTML, and I have built a website so far. I know God will always be here with me, by my side, and He will always take care of everything, of my needs.
Luisa is only 15, but her current skill set could earn her a salary of $50,000 or higher. Thanks to the Pi 515 program, many children who once felt like outcasts who couldn't communicate with their peers now have promising futures ahead of them. Reporting from Iowa, Abigail Robertson, CBN News.
기독교 구호단체 컴패션 인터내셔널이 지난 수십 년간 이어왔던 인도 사역을 마무리합니다.
The U.S.-based charity, which focused on caring for India's poorest children, is leaving behind 48 years of ministry there. Compassion exhausted every effort to stay after the Indian government denied the group the ability to transfer funds into that country. The move will leave more than 145,000 Indian children without aid. But the ministry says it will pour its resources into local churches to bring some help to those children.
참 우려되는 상황이 아닐 수 없는데요. 왜 상황이 이렇게까지 전개됐는지, 앞으로 인도 아이들을 도울 방법은 없는지 좀 더 자세한 이야기 들어봤습니다.
You have more than 100 staff workers in India serving 147,000 children living in poverty there. And now the Indian government says that you must leave. Why is the government telling you to get out?
Well, it's a complicated issue, but to put it simply, in 2011, the Indian government made changes to its Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, which is a law that regulates the receipt of foreign funds into the country, and particularly those of NGOs like Compassion. Now, those changes allowed the Indian government to restrict NGOs with purposes that differed from their own political ideology. We believe that the Indian government wants to limit the expansion of Christianity in India, and we further believe that it misunderstands Compassion's program model, which they believe that, or assume, that our sole intent is to convert children to Christianity when our primary goal is to rescue children from extreme poverty.
And that's a really interesting difference. Has the Indian government said that to you, that they believe that your main purpose is conversion?
No, we have read that in the Indian media, just like you have. But they have given us no formal reason for restricting our funding.
You have, of course, been providing for these children at your center. Tell us what you have been providing for them up till now.
Yeah. The children in our care receive medical attention, medical care, education, books for school, clothing, food, vocational training, among many other things.
And what do you anticipate will happen to these children now? There are the churches in place to work with them, but these churches, of course, will not have the funding that you've been able to provide.
Yeah, I can't really speak into that because we don't know what will happen to these children. Obviously, we hope to watch every child that we've cared for grow up to become fulfilled, responsible, and successful adults. And so we do know that the remaining 1.8 million children in our care throughout the 25 countries where we continue to work will, our support for them will not change. And we just continue to pray for the children in India and continue to pray for those government officials and for the government of India that they will see the care that we have lavished upon their children and that we will one day be able to return and continue caring for their children.
프랑스에서는 앞으로 낙태 반대 운동을 벌일 수 없을지도 모릅니다. 새로운 법이 도입되면서 낙태에 대한 비난 발언을 하는 것이 불법이 될 수 있기 때문인데요. 자세한 소식 파리에서 전합니다.
The French pro-life movement faces being crippled by a proposed law that would criminalize any website that tries to persuade a woman not to have an abortion. Anyone convicted under the so-called crime of digital interference law could get 2 years in prison and a $31,000 fine. While it's passed the Senate and National Assembly, it's not law yet. It's being reviewed by France's highest legal body, the Constitutional Council. This isn't the United States, where the pro-life movement is a major political force. If passed, as many expect, the law will make an already weak anti-abortion movement in France even weaker.
The government says it's trying to stop fake news about abortion. Pro-life leaders call it censorship of their views, and they feel like their movement is being strangled.
This law has the risk of suffocating the pro-life movement.
Jean-Marie Lemonnet is president of the Jérôme Lejeune Foundation, one of France's leading pro-life organizations.
This new law is extremely dangerous because it limits the freedom of expression. First, it means that the government is deciding what is right and what is wrong, what we can tell about abortion and not.
The law targets words and messages that might deter, dissuade, or hinder women from having an abortion.
This law goes pretty far, since the mere fact of saying the truth could discourage a woman from having an abortion. Showing what abortion is technically a deterrent.
American pro-life websites like these would be illegal under the new French law, as would these web pages shown to us on the Jérôme Lejeune Foundation's own website. Opponents of the proposed law appealed to France's Constitutional Council because the law would restrict freedom of speech. While that argument would probably work in the United States, it may not work in France, where pro-life forces lost the abortion debate long ago. France legalized abortion in 1975 and is today one of the most pro-abortion nations in Europe, with more than 2/3 saying in one poll that a woman should be able to have an abortion whenever she wants. Journalist Anne-Elizabeth Moutet says the pro-life movement is seen by the government as denying women the human right to abortion.
The view of the French is that as long as women are entitled to have abortions, you cannot actively have propaganda that will prevent them from making an informed choice about exercising that right. That's the way the French law goes.
In France, 96% of Down syndrome babies are aborted. Last year, the French government banned this ad showing smiling, happy Down syndrome children.
Podrá hacer muchas cosas.
Lemonet says the government sees abortion as social progress, along with euthanasia, gay rights, and same-sex marriage. The French haven't gone along with all of it. 4 million marched against gay marriage and gay adoption before losing the battle. France is still a majority Catholic country, even if most people don't attend church regularly. But there has not been the same outrage over this law, and passage could come soon, making it even harder to protect the unborn in France.
The few constraints that were shaping the law on abortion are now void. This means that organizations such as Planned Parenthood, which is publicly funded, and the government have the monopoly on telling the truth, but are in fact telling lies about abortion.
Dale Hurd, CBN News, Paris.
전 세계에서 가장 빠른 속도로 인기를 얻고 있는 음식 중 하나가 바로 아시아 음식인데요. 지난 20년간 아시아 레스토랑의 수는 6배 가까이 늘었다고 합니다. 맛도 있겠지만 또 다른 성공 비결을 가진 중식 레스토랑도 있다고 하는데요. 어떤 이야기일까요? 함께 만나보시죠.
It's 6 o'clock in the morning and the day has already started at Peter Chang's. The kitchen is full of vegetables and energy. From Washington, D.C. to Maryland and Virginia, Jiang Pengliang, also known as Peter Chang, has made a name for himself. However, he says when he first moved to the United States, he was just a small fish in a big pond.
When I came to the U.S. in 2001, I was so young. I had many dreams, such as opening up my own restaurant. I was so jealous of others, but I knew all I could do was to be patient and learn from others.
Hardworking, Chang constantly practiced his skills and learned from leading chefs in the field. He loved cooking.
I always look for chances to become better in cooking. This is all I know. In order to make a living and improve my life in the United States, I needed to push myself harder. That's the Chinese spirit.
For Chang, cooking is an art form. In 2011, he successfully opened up his first restaurant. He named it Peter Chang. And the quality of food and service are the core of his business. Meanwhile, he constantly creates new authentic Chinese dishes to attract more customers. Peter Chang's business was so popular, even a former Chinese president paid a visit to his restaurant. In 2016, he was nominated for the James Beard Foundation Best Chef Award. Today, Xiang has more than 10 restaurants where customers are offered more than just food.
I have been a chef for 30 years. I want to introduce Chinese culture too. Food is the best way to do so. When people come to my restaurant, I want them to feel welcomed. They're like my family members, and I hope they appreciate our efforts.
Peter Chang today is a very successful restaurant business owner. Also, he is a man of faith. When asked about his faith journey, he is very grateful about what the Bible and the church have taught him.
I am always touched by what the church taught me, especially on gratefulness. I am still learning and searching by reading the Bible. The words of Jesus guide my life. As a sinner, I need to obey and be humble.
Xiang tries to teach his employees the same principle. The scriptures are very important to him.
Chang is such a good man. He is very honest and patient in teaching us many useful things. He never allows us to forget the importance of being grateful. I love to work with him.
Peter Chang is in the process of opening up more restaurants in other states. First is New York. He wants more and more Americans to fall in love with Chinese food and Chinese culture. More importantly, he believes the Lord will continue to guide him to greater success. Mengfei Li, CBN News.
오늘 준비한 소식은 여기까지입니다. 저는 다음 주에 다시 찾아오겠습니다. 시청해주신 여러분 고맙습니다.